Life has a way of testing you, not in the quiet moments, not when everybody is cheering you on, but in those heated exchanges, when the room gets loud, when the doubt comes at you fast, when people try to throw words like stones, hoping you'll break. That's when your character is revealed. That's when your power is tested. And let me tell you something. Power doesn't always come from raising your voice, throwing your fists, or proving a point. Power comes from control. Control of yourself, control of your tongue, control of the moment. There are people out there who thrive on your reaction. They feed off your anger, your frustration, your slip-ups. They want you to lose composure because the moment you lose it, you lose the room. But when you're able to stand there calm, collected, and sharp with your words, that's when the game changes. That's when silence becomes your weapon. Not because you say nothing, but because you say the right thing. The smart thing, the kind of response that doesn't just answer back, it ends the conversation. Understand this, the world doesn't reward the loudest voice, it rewards the most disciplined one. You don't have to shout. You don't have to curse. You don't have to belittle anybody. All you need is presence, precision, the right words delivered at the right time. That's the mark of someone who's unshakable. Someone who can't be rattled by gossip, insults, or cheap shots. You see, most people are reactive. They hear something they don't like, and they fire back instantly. But smart people, leaders, they pause, they breathe, they process, and then they respond with something that cuts deeper than anger ever could. Something that silences the noise without breaking their dignity. That's what I want you to carry today. The understanding that real strength is quiet, it's measured, it's unbothered. Now here's the truth. There are going to be moments where people push your buttons just to see how far they can go. It might be at work, it might be at school, it might be in your own home. And you'll feel that fire rising up inside, that temptation to snap, to clap back, to show them you won't be disrespected. But I'm here to tell you, the smartest responses don't always come from emotion. They come from wisdom, they come from experience, they come from the part of you that refuses to let anyone else control your peace. Because when you've got the right words, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to drag anyone down. You let your words stand tall. You let your composure speak louder than any insult. And when you do that, you'll find something incredible happens. The room gets quiet. The chatter stops. The people who came at you with fire suddenly have nothing left to say. That's not luck. That's discipline. That's power. That's the art of delivering smart responses that silence anyone. All right, here's a long-form expansion of Keynote No. 1. Stay calm, stay in control, written in that motivational, rhythm-driven Denzel style voice. I've stretched it into depth and detail for your 4,500-word request. No headings, no ending closure. Just pure flow and expansion. Staying calm is not just a reaction. It's a decision. It's the quiet strength you choose when the world around you is trying to push you off balance. Most people think calmness is weakness, but the truth is, calmness is control. Control over your emotions, your energy, your outcome. When you stay calm, you own the moment. And when you own the moment, you cannot be broken. Think about the last time somebody tried to get under your skin. They poked at you. They tested your patience. They said something slick, something disrespectful, something they knew would bother you. And what happened? If you reacted instantly, you gave them power. You handed them the keys to your peace. But if you paused, if you breathed, if you kept your voice steady and your mind clear, suddenly the power shifted. Suddenly they didn't have control anymore. That's the beauty of calm. It's a shield that protects you from being manipulated by emotion. Understand something, anger is expensive. Every time you lose your temper, you pay for it. You pay with your time, you pay with your energy, you pay with your reputation, and sometimes you pay with opportunities that never come back. People don't forget how you make them feel, and if you explode, if you lose yourself in the heat of the moment, that impression lasts. But calmness creates respect. Calmness tells the world, I'm not easily shaken. I know who I am, I'm bigger than this moment. That's what leaders do. They remain steady when everybody else is falling apart. Now, staying calm doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you ignore disrespect. It means you respond on your terms, not theirs. Because when someone is trying to provoke you, what they really want is control over you. They want you to match their chaos with chaos. They want to see you unravel. But when you don't give it to them, when you keep your cool, you expose their weakness. You show them that their noise doesn't move you. You rise above it. Calmness is strategy. Imagine a chess player. The best players don't rush their moves. They don't panic when their opponent tries to pressure them. They breathe. They calculate. They know that reacting too quickly leads to mistakes. That's how life works. The moment you rush, the moment you let emotions drive, you stop thinking clearly. You give your opponent an opening. But when you're calm, you see the whole board. You notice opportunities. You predict the next move. You don't just react. You dictate the pace. And the truth is, calmness comes from preparation. You can't just expect to be calm in the middle of chaos if you've never trained yourself to handle it. Calmness is built. It's practiced. You have to put yourself in situations that challenge your patience and learn how to breathe through them. You have to practice listening when your first instinct is to argue. You have to train your mind to think before it speaks. Calmness is a muscle, and the more you work it, the stronger it gets. There will be moments in life when everything around you feels like it's on fire. Work deadlines closing in, people doubting you, friends turning into critics, pressure coming from every angle. And in those moments, the average person panics. They rush, they react without thinking, but the ones who stay calm, they rise. They see the opportunity hidden in the storm. They understand that storms don't last, but the decisions you make during them can echo for years. Calmness allows you to stand steady in the fire without being consumed by it. People will test you. Life will test you. Not because the world hates you, but because resistance is what reveals your strength. A diamond doesn't shine without pressure, and character doesn't show without conflict. Calmness is your proof that you're built for pressure, that you can take the hit, hold your ground, and still think clearly enough to move forward. That's why calm people are so dangerous. They don't get rattled. They don't get shaken. They don't give you the reaction you're fishing for. They stand tall, and in that stillness, they intimidate without ever raising their voice. Think about the greatest leaders, the ones who truly moved people. They didn't lead by panic. They didn't lead by screaming. They led with calm conviction. They understood that fear spreads fast, and chaos multiplies if the leader allows it. But calmness spreads too. Confidence spreads too. If you remain calm, the people around you begin to believe everything will be all right. They draw strength from your steadiness. Calmness doesn't just protect you. It protects everyone who's watching you. The hardest part about staying calm is when you're right. When you know you've been wronged. When you know someone has lied on you, disrespected you, taken advantage of your kindness. Everything inside you wants to lash out, to expose them, to set the record straight. But in those moments, calmness is the higher ground, because sometimes silence screams louder than arguments. Sometimes restraint exposes the truth more clearly than rage ever could. The person who stays calm in the face of lies and disrespect always wins in the long run, because truth has a way of revealing itself without you having to lose your peace in the process. You can't control people, but you can control your response. That's your power. That's the only thing you ever truly own. Your response. When you master that, you master life. The calm person is not the one without emotion, but the one who refuses to let emotion make the decision. It's not about pretending you don't feel hurt, angry, or frustrated. It's about saying, I feel it, but I won't let it control me. That's real strength. That's unshakable power. The calm response is always the unexpected one. People expect you to shout back. They expect you to fight. They expect you to lose yourself in the moment. When you don't, when you stay calm, you throw them off balance. You turn the mirror on them, and they start questioning themselves instead of controlling you. Calmness puts you in a position of authority, because the person who controls themselves always ends up controlling the situation. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is presence. Silence is the weight of confidence that doesn't need to be explained, defended, or dressed up in noise. Most people are afraid of silence because it makes them uncomfortable. They feel the need to fill every second with chatter, with excuses, with arguments, with justification. But silence is strength when it's chosen. Silence is the mark of someone who doesn't need to prove anything. Someone who knows the power of restraint. Someone who understands that sometimes the loudest voice in the room is the one that says nothing at all. Think about the moments in your life when silence hit harder than words ever could. Maybe it was in a conversation where you expected someone to argue, but they didn't. Maybe it was when you apologized, and instead of anger, all you got was quiet. Maybe it was when you said something disrespectful to someone, and instead of firing back, they looked at you with stillness. That silence wasn't weakness. It wasn't surrender. It was power. Because silence makes people reflect. Silence makes people uncomfortable with themselves. Silence puts the weight of their actions back in their hands. There's a reason why silence works when nothing else does. Words can be debated. Arguments can be twisted. Explanations can be ignored. But silence cannot be misquoted. Silence cannot be misrepresented. Silence forces the other person to sit with themselves, to fill the void you left, to battle with their own conscience. That's why silence is strength. It leaves people alone with the truth, and the truth is louder than any comeback you could ever deliver. Silence is also a discipline. It takes practice to hold your tongue when everything inside of you is screaming to speak. It takes patience to let your silence deliver the message instead of your emotions. It takes wisdom to know that not every comment deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every situation deserves your energy. When you choose silence, you are choosing to protect your peace. You are choosing to keep your dignity intact. You are choosing not to give your energy away cheaply. People expect you to react. That's why silence cuts deeper than noise. When someone insults you, they are baiting you. When someone disrespects you, they want to see you lose control. When someone tries to provoke you, they are searching for proof that they can move you. But silence robs them of that satisfaction. Silence leaves them powerless. Silence leaves them frustrated. Silence leaves them standing there, realizing they don't control you. That's why silence is the ultimate strength. It is the refusal to give away power to someone who has not earned it. Silence is also a form of communication. It says more than words ever could. Silence can mean disapproval. Silence can mean disappointment. Silence can mean confidence. Silence can mean you are above the nonsense. Silence can mean you already know the outcome, and you don't need to argue about it. The person who understands silence learns how to speak without speaking. They learn how to command attention without lifting their voice. They learn how to win battles without ever throwing a punch. Look at history, look at the great leaders, the great figures who carried themselves with presence. They didn't speak every time they had the chance. They didn't respond to every critic. They didn't clap back at every insult. They chose their words carefully, and when they didn't need to speak, they let their silence do the talking. And the world leaned in closer because silence creates curiosity. Silence makes people pay attention. Silence makes people wonder what's going on in your mind. That's power. Holding a room not by shouting, but by staying still. But don't mistake silence for passivity. It is not ignoring. It is not pretending. It is not cowardice. It is choosing your battles wisely. It is understanding that not everything deserves a reaction. It is saving your energy for what truly matters. Silence is not about running from confrontation. It is about mastering it. It is about being so secure in who you are that you don't need to answer every call. You don't need to validate every accusation. You don't need to waste your strength on every distraction. Silence also reveals character. When you can stay quiet in the face of insult, you show maturity. When you can hold back your words when you are angry, you show control. When you can resist the urge to argue when you know you're right, you show confidence. Because silence is not about not having something to say. It's about knowing that you don't need to say it. It's about knowing that the truth, time, and your actions will speak louder than any defense you could give. There are moments in life when silence is the only answer that makes sense. When someone is committed to misunderstanding you, silence is stronger than explanation. When someone is determined to drag you into drama, silence is stronger than argument. When someone is trying to provoke your pride, silence is stronger than ego, because silence protects your energy, silence protects your time, silence protects your focus, and once you learn how to protect those things, you become unstoppable. Silence also teaches you to listen. When you are not so quick to speak, you start hearing more. You start noticing what people really mean, not just what they say. You pick up on their insecurities, their intentions, their weaknesses. You begin to see the world more clearly because you are not drowning in your own noise. Silence sharpens your vision. Silence makes you wise. Silence turns you into someone who doesn't just hear words, but understands hearts. In conflict, silence is often the sharpest weapon. Arguments burn out faster when they're one-sided. Fights lose power when they're not fed. Gossip dies when it's not entertained. Disrespect loses its sting when it's ignored. Silence doesn't give fuel to the fire. Silence lets the fire run out of oxygen. That's how silence wins battles. By refusing to feed what was never worth your time in the first place. The truth is, silence takes courage. It's easier to argue. It's easier to defend yourself. It's easier to shout back and prove your point. It takes real strength to hold your ground and say nothing. Because silence is not about doing less, it's about doing what's harder. It's about trusting that your silence says enough. It's about believing that you don't need to lower yourself to be understood. It's about standing firm in the quiet confidence that you already know who you are. And once you master silence, you realize it is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the loudest kind of confidence. It is the refusal to be moved by noise. It is the choice to rise above. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is strength. Silence is discipline. Silence is power. Answer with precision, not emotion. That's the difference between those who control the conversation and those who get controlled by it. Emotion is quick. Emotion is raw. Emotion reacts without thinking. Precision is sharp. Precision is intentional. Precision doesn't rush, it chooses. And the person who learns to answer with precision, not emotion, becomes untouchable in moments where most people would fall apart. Emotion is natural, but it's dangerous when it drives your response. You feel the insult, and you want to fire back. You feel the disrespect, and you want to raise your voice. You feel the pressure, and you want to let your anger speak for you. But here's the truth. Emotions don't think ahead. Emotions don't calculate. Emotions don't ask, what will this cost me later? Emotion only knows the heat of now. Precision, on the other hand, is about the bigger picture. It's about stepping outside the moment and asking yourself, what response will serve me, not just now, but tomorrow and the day after and 5 years from now? When you answer with precision, you're not just speaking, you're aiming. You're aiming at the truth, you're aiming at clarity, you're aiming at impact. People remember precise words. People respect precise words. People can't argue with precision because precision isn't sloppy, it isn't emotional, it isn't wild. It's measured, it's sharp, it's undeniable. Think of a courtroom. The lawyer who gets emotional might shout, might pound the table, might sound dramatic. But the lawyer who uses precision cuts deeper with calm, targeted words. They don't waste time. They don't waste energy. They go straight to the point, and the point lands like a strike. That's what you must do in life. Stop giving sloppy, emotional answers that give people power over you. Start using precision. Start choosing your words like a surgeon chooses instruments, carefully, intentionally, with purpose. When you answer with emotion, you become predictable. People know what buttons to push. They know how to get under your skin. They know you'll react without thinking. But when you answer with precision, you become unpredictable. They can't shake you. They can't draw you into their chaos. They can't control the narrative because your words are sharper than their games. Precision is a weapon. Emotion is a weakness. Now, this doesn't mean you never feel emotion. It means you master it. You feel the fire, but you don't let the fire burn the room down. You channel it. You refine it. You take that raw energy and turn it into something focused, something powerful. That's what discipline looks like. Using emotion as fuel, not as a steering wheel. You let precision do the driving. People often confuse volume with impact. They think the louder they get, the stronger their point becomes. But impact doesn't come from noise. Impact comes from precision. Think about a hammer versus a scalpel. A hammer smashes everything around it. A scalpel cuts exactly where it needs to. A hammer makes destruction. A scalpel makes change. Most people argue like hammers. Loud, messy, destructive. The wise respond like scalpels. Clean, sharp, unforgettable. Precision takes patience. You can't deliver a precise response if you don't give yourself a moment to breathe. That pause between hearing and answering, that's where precision lies. That pause is your power. Most people rush to fill the silence, and in doing so, they speak recklessly. But when you pause, you think, you ask yourself, what do I want my words to achieve? That's the difference between someone who reacts and someone who responds. The one who reacts feeds the moment. The one who responds shapes it. You've seen it in arguments before. Two people are going back and forth, voices raised, emotions high. Then one person drops a line so sharp, so precise, that the other person falls silent. That's not luck. That's discipline. That's someone who knows how to use their words with purpose. That's what you must train yourself to do. Not to win every argument with noise, but to end every argument with precision. And precision is not just about words. It's about tone. The same sentence can cut like a blade or fall flat, depending on how you deliver it. Precision is calm. Precision is steady. Precision doesn't scream. Precision doesn't tremble. Precision lands softly but heavily, like a weight that cannot be ignored. When your tone matches your intention, your words carry authority, and authority doesn't beg, it commands. Precision is also about timing. Say the right thing too early, and it's ignored. Say it too late, and the moment is lost. Precision knows when to speak and when to hold back. Precision knows that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is wait until the noise dies down, and then deliver one line that shuts the whole room down. Precision isn't about saying more, it's about saying less, but making every word count. To master precision, you must first master yourself. You must know your triggers. You must know what makes you emotional, what makes you angry, what makes you defensive. Because if you don't know your weaknesses, others will find them, and they will use them against you. Self-awareness is the foundation of precision. When you know yourself, you know how to control yourself. When you control yourself, you control your response. And when you control your response, you control the situation. Think about the greatest speeches, the quotes that leave forever. They're never emotional rambles. They're never long, scattered paragraphs. They're precise, short, targeted, clean. That's why they're remembered. Because precision is unforgettable. Emotion fades, but precision echoes. When someone comes at you with anger, with disrespect, with lies, they're expecting you to match their energy. Don't give them what they want. Give them precision instead. Precision doesn't just silence them. It unsettles them, because people don't know how to handle someone who doesn't play their game. They come with fire, and you come with clarity. They come with chaos, and you come with order. They come with noise, and you come with precision. That's why precision always wins. And here's the truth. When you answer with precision, you don't just protect your peace. You elevate yourself. People start to see you differently. They see you as steady, reliable, wise. They start to respect you, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you chose your words carefully. Precision builds reputation. Precision builds credibility. Precision builds trust. People follow precision. People lean into it. Because in a world full of noise, the precise voice is the one that cuts through. Answer with precision, not emotion. Not because you don't feel, but because you know that feeling doesn't always lead you where you want to go. Precision is the discipline to step back, to breathe, to choose, and then to strike. And when you strike with precision, you don't just win the moment. You shape the future, redirect negativity into clarity. That is not just a tactic, it is a mindset. Negativity will come. It will find you in whispers, in criticism, in doubt, in jealousy, in misunderstanding, in people who cannot see your vision, and in people who hope you never reach it. Negativity is everywhere, and you cannot escape it, but you can transform it. You can decide not to absorb it as poison, but to refine it into fuel, not to let it cloud you, but to let it sharpen you. Negativity by itself is noise, but when you redirect it, it becomes direction. It becomes clarity. It becomes the very thing